You know, ever since the advent of the internet, about once a week we get a call from somebody and he or she wants to bring a book by to show us and make sure that it's a first edition. What they've done is they've bought a first edition on the internet and they just want to make sure that they've done the right thing. My answer always is, come ahead, let's take a look, that sort of thing. But beforehand, if you're really interested in old books, you ought to be doing a little bit of research. You wouldn't go out and buy something in the stock market without actually looking to see what the company sells or what have you. You wouldn't go out and get a piece of real estate without doing some background research. And I'm a big advocate that you should do some background research before you spend some money on the internet for books, particularly if you're going to spend some significant money. This is a concrete example. Both of these books, authored by Ernest Hemingway, are first editions. Now, one of them is worth at least $100 more, maybe more, than the other. And the way that you find that out is to look at maybe a bibliography. This one is by Hanneman, and he's the source for most of the Hemingway material. And if you look in Mr. Hanneman's book, you find out that the dust jacket with the yellow medallion here is indeed the first printing, and therefore has better value. There are other kinds of bibliographies too. Here's a colleague who did a bibliography on science fiction and fantasy authors. You can get one for almost any subject. Here's one for maps. Here's Mapping of America, if you're so inclined, or even more to the point, the Southeast in early maps. The point being that there's a reference book for almost anything you want to find out. And indeed, a lot of the reference that you find on the internet is incorrect. So I would invest in a bibliography, a reference book, before you get too far along in your book collecting. Similarly, I would establish a relationship with somebody. It might be a book dealer with whom you do some business. It might be your best friend or wife. It could be somebody who shares your enthusiasm, not necessarily the same subject. But in any case, establish a relationship with somebody so that you can ask questions or have questions asked of you. Oftentimes, if you're being asked questions, the water is going to clear up and maybe crystallize and get things straight in your own mind as to what you should be looking for. Which is another thing. You always want to have a goal. The goal can change, but be sure that you have a goal in mind when you go about establishing a collection, whether you want to have everything that Ernest Hemingway wrote, or whether you want to have novels that have World War II as a setting, or Florida history, or California gold rush, whatever it happens to be. Keep your goal in mind and see how things fit easily. Earlier we talked about these two books and the difference that a dust jacket can make. Both of the books are exactly the same. They are both first editions. They both have the Scribner A and the medallion there. The only difference in these two books is the dust jacket, and the only difference in the dust jacket is the color of this medallion on the spine. But that little change, which means that this one is printed earlier than this one, makes about double the difference. This is, on today's market, in this condition, about a $200 book. This book, in this condition, is about a $100 book. Each of these things, these three things, do your research, establish a relationship, and establish a goal, are important as you go through your book collecting experience. And I hope it's a fun one for you.